Whenever I play a game, I usually go for the Necromancy wizard guy, the kind of wizard that just goes too far down the wrong path. And thankfully for me in Elden Ring, you actually have the choice to summon skeletons, which is insane to me. And it turns out this build is actually really strong. So let's get into it. The build is going to revolve around summoning these little skeletons that you see on the screen. They have a special ability to regenerate themselves and they're going to stay on the battlefield forever while you just mow down any bosses with your spells. This is not going to work against bosses where you can't summon them, obviously, but most bosses you'll be able to, and it really makes it a walk in the park, as you can see. So let's get into it. It's gonna be 3 easy steps with no spoiler. It's all before the first real boss of the game. And then there's a 4th optional step where I'm gonna show you where the magic trainer is, the lady you can give scroll to, and she's gonna teach you magic. And then finally, I'm gonna show you the first real boss of the game with this strat, and you'll see how easy it is. But if you don't want to spoil yourself, just watch the first 4 steps. I promise you, it's really worth it. The first actual step that's going to be required is to find the Church of Ele. Now this is really simple because it's literally the first thing you do coming out of the tutorial area. So right besides this golden knight that you saw at the beginning, which you will see when you come out of the tutorial place, is going to be this church. Now this is important because this is gonna be the central focus of this build. Afterwards, you're gonna travel a little bit. I don't know if it's waypoint specific or if you just need to do a bunch of them, but you are going to get a cutscene with Melinda, I think is her name, and she's gonna give you your spectral steed. Now the spectral steed is very important, and I'll show you why in just an instant. Just be sure you get this cutscene before you try doing the build whatsoever, because it's gonna be really important. Imagine you just never come to this grace.
Greetings.
Once you've got your spectral steed, head on forward to the Summon Water Village. This is a map of where you can find it on the map. It's a little bit recluse, but if you're just doing some little exploring, no doubt you're gonna run across it at some point. If you just wanna head there directly, go with this route, and this is going to be the single most important part of the build. Now, in this village, you're gonna find a little ferryman, and he's actually a mini-boss. He's called the Tibia Mariner, and he gives you one of the best summons around. So I'll just explain the fight a little bit while you watch this, because it is kind of a tricky one and a gimmicky fight, but once you know the gimmick of it, it's really easy. I also suggest always staying on your spectral steed to do this. That's why I recommend getting the spectral steed first. Now, he is on his boat and he's gonna teleport around the map. He always stays on water though, and he's gonna summon these skeletons. And the skeletons have a weird mechanic where they regenerate fully their HP. To stop this from happening, all you're gonna have to do is hit them while they're regenerating. Now, this is gonna come in really handy, because as you can see, those are the same skeletons I am using at the beginning of the video. Kinda weird. Well, that's because it is. This guy, when he dies, gives you those skeletons to summon once you get the bell, and that's gonna be the next step. But right now, all you're gonna do is kill this guy. As you can see, it's pretty easy. You just run around and hit him with your sorceries. If you didn't choose the mage, well, first off, what's your problem? And second off, it's okay. Just stay on your horse and drive by and hit him with strong attacks. It's gonna take a little while, but it's gonna do the job in the end. After you get the summons, head out and go to the Church of Ele to get your summoning bell. After you've done all of those steps, like I said, come back to the Church of LA. You're gonna find this ghostly lady. If you wait here till midnight, it just happened to be midnight when I traveled there, that's why she was right there, and she's gonna ask you about your steed. Now this is why it's important to have the steed first and not do this before, but this is why the church is important, because you need her. She's only gonna appear here, and she's gonna give you the summoning bell. Now you have pretty much all you need. The build is technically completed, but if you want more sorceries, I'm gonna show you where the Mage Teacher is. So I'm gonna cover this in this build, because why not? Here is a map of where you can find her. It's a ruin. It's called Waypoint Ruin. And whenever you get there, there are going to be some enemies. They're plants. And she's going to be guarded by a small little boss. I'm not going to spoil you what it is because it is pretty funny, but he's not that hard if you're a mage and you can just defeat him. And then you're going to open the door and she's going to be right there. And this is the girl you give the scrolls to if you want to learn more sorceries. But she already got a pretty good arsenal and you're surely going to want all of them because they all have their own uses. So this is the teacher and you can learn whatever you want, whatever magic is. I personally recommend taking the Glintstone Pebble for a while still because it is your single most damage sorcery. When you find the scrolls, you will be able to imbue your right weapon with damage, and that's going to be the most damage as well with your weapon. So just to reiterate, I do believe Glintstone Pebble is the best spell in the early game. So spoiler ahead, this fight is the first real boss fight of the game. If you don't want to get spoiled, please stop watching here. But if you don't really care, then keep on, because I'm going to explain the build a little bit more, and then I'm just going to let you enjoy the fight and see how even a mindless monkey with no hands could win this fight pretty easily with this build. So the skeleton regenerate themselves. The only thing that can actually kill them is if the boss hits them while they're regenerating. So whenever they fall down, the boss is going to focus on you and you really want to drag him away from these skeletons. This is the most important part of the build and it's the only thing you actually need to know. Because if the boss stays around the skeletons, he's not going to target them, but if he hits them with his hitbox at any point while they're regenerating, they're just going to die and you're going to be left alone. These skeletons aren't really good. The really good part about them is that they stay for almost the entire fight if you play your cards right. And this is really strong because it gives you a big window where the boss just completely stops attacking you. You can heal, you can regen mana, you can buff your weapon, or you can just pebble him to death, and that's about it. So, if you've made it this far into the video, and if you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time for more Necromancer build. Let me know what you think in the comments, like, whatever. I'll see you guys next time. Necromancer Wizard. Is there a second phase? No way. Talisman Pouch.
I shall remember thee, tarnished, smoldering with